everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Order 13. Order 13 is an indie game that received a little bit of attention around its release on March 10th. However, it has mostly flown under the radar despite getting a very positive review rating on Steam. So with that being said, let's dive into what makes it good or bad, starting first with the gameplay. The gameplay of Order 13 has one simple gameplay loop. You start the day in your room, print orders, go out into the warehouse and grab the orders, and then come back to pack and ship the orders, rinse and repeat until quota is hit for the day. You are also accompanied by your cat, who can be customized, and when you're not in your room, the cat's happiness drops. Once your cat's happiness drops to 0, you get a game over. This means you have a limited time outside of the room, and must be efficient in grabbing your orders. There is one obstacle, however, and that is that there is something else roaming the warehouse other than you. If you are seen by the monster, you must run and hide, otherwise you're gonna die. At the start of each day, you are also able to purchase upgrades to your tools, open up new areas to grab packages, or increase your cat's overall happiness meter. But why are you there, and why is there even a monster in the first place? To go over the story, we must first understand that much is left to interpretation. This is because the game doesn't outright give you the answers. But what we do know is that you are employed by the shipping company, the Jolly Box Company, and are living in the warehouse with your cat, and you hate your job. However, there is definitely more at play to the story, especially the question of why there is a monster in the first place. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? So we've got so many different simulation games out there nowadays. You know, you got Power Wash Simulator, Trucking Simulator, Farming Simulator, and now we've got Amazon Graveyard Shift Simulation. Isn't that what this is? You know?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
no, my bad.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you ever dreamed of working in a dark, creepy warehouse for questionable wages while trying to avoid horrifying creatures, well, Order 13 throws you into exactly that experience, except with slightly more job security than certain real-world companies named after a rainforest, like Henrik is suggesting.
Yeah.
He just likes to call them out by name. But at first, it's just another day at the office, right, Henrik? You grab your orders, you scan barcodes, and try not to wonder why you're the only person left in the building. But soon, you start to notice things like a shuffle in the distance, like a grotesque figure scuttling across the floor, maybe a deep, miserable banshee sound that reminds you of a death rattle. And before you know it, the creature starts creeping through the aisles, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you feel like this job has way more hazards than HR ever mentioned.
No, yeah, I mean, it gets really weird because it seems so innocuous at first, like you're saying, and then you're just seeing these like body parts on the floor and you're like, wait a minute, something's up here and I don't really like where this is going. But when it comes to the gameplay, that really is all it is. Unfortunately, it's just you go pick up the packages, you go find your way back to the room, you ship it, and then you do that over and over again until the day is over. And it kind of does get a little stale. The good thing about that, though, is the game is not very long. It's about like 2.5 to 3 hours long. So by the time that the game is ending is about the time that you're like, okay, I'm about done with this gameplay now. But was that how you felt about the gameplay, Chris?
Well, I felt for like an indie simulator kind of style game. I thought the gameplay was actually surprisingly engaging for like a warehouse simulator until you realize you don't even have a box cutter for self-defense. I mean, like, seriously? I'm out here dodging monsters with nothing but a scanner and a flashlight. At least let me throw some packing peanuts at them, Henrik. I mean, what are you supposed to do? It's crazy.
Well, your only option is to go hide. And, there's only so many spots you can go hide, but I did find that I was like kind of longing for some sort of weapon system,
some kind of weapon.
Back, yeah.
There's definitely a lot of moments in this game.
Defenseless.
Right. And I mean, even speaking of packing, right? Like the overall theme to this horror game, the packaging mini games, they are a fun little addition. Even if I really wish I wasn't forced to use massive boxes for everything. I mean, I'm over here like sending a single USB cable in a crate like it's a national treasure, right, Henrik? And then all of a sudden you're slapping a sticker. Like, I just feel like they had a lot of room to be able to do a lot of creative things. Like maybe they could have let me slap a sticker on a padded envelope and call it a day. Or at least,
Mhm.
I think the one benefit to this game, which I thought was really, really cool, is that you get to hop on the office computer to buy some much needed upgrades, like expanding your ticket rack to juggle more orders or picking up backpack to carry on extra items, because nothing says or screams efficiency like quietly hoarding all the office supplies while speedrunning capitalism just to try to meet your daily quota, right, Henrik?
Yeah.
But then, I think what would have been kind of a cool addition to this, because I thought the ticket rack and the backpack thing was a great idea for this like warehouse simulator, but I was begging for something more. I kept thinking about Fallout, and I felt like this would have been perfect if they utilized the Fallout weight scale system, because
Hmm.
then that would have maybe made the horror aspect a little bit more challenging in a sense. Like if you added some strategy to it, like for example, Henrik, like what if you were to wanted to load up lightweight orders to move faster or take fewer bulkier items to maximize my trip, and then while we're at it, you can let me pick how I want to ship it. Right? You can get box sizes, you can get padded envelopes, or even those like festive holiday gift bags that look suspiciously like trash bags. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? During the holidays for Amazon.
Yeah.
So I mean, nothing's is something. Nothing's more sweeter than sending grandma's hand knitted sweater in a sack that screams curbside pickup. Right, Henrik?
Yeah, no, I did kind of feel that way as well, at least when it comes to the packing side of things, where, yeah, it does feel a little silly to be packing everything in the same size box. And I would have actually been okay if they had implemented some sort of mechanic where when you print the order, it starts to maybe at like the 3 or 4 day mark, you start to get specific packaging orders as well, where you need to
Yeah.
hack something a specific way. And if you don't, you're going to get docked points or money, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And yeah, it feels like they definitely could have done that. But at the same time, I know that probably wasn't the point. The point probably wasn't to make the game harder than it is, because it's just trying to deliver that horror atmosphere as well as leave this sort of mystery in the air of like, why are you there? What's going on? Why are there monsters?
Yeah.
And what does this company actually do? And
But why in the last couple of years, why in every horror psychological game, you always have a cat as your companion? Like it seems like that's a common thing. My number one thought was Stray. Like the minute I started playing, I'm like, oh, that's the cat from Stray. I mean, they're always become the true emotional anchor. And,
yeah,
a lot of the times it's
I mean,
there
I
to
named
literally
mine
determine your
after my
survival.
real life cat because why
Oh, did
not,
you know?
right? You know?
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean, you definitely don't want to neglect your furry friend. If they wander out, let's just say it's not a happy ending. And you're definitely going to need to upgrade their space. You need to keep them entertained. And that's
Mhm.
probably arguably, I would say, the more stressful part than avoiding the monsters, because there's no way
Yeah,
I would be letting that cat meet a terrible fate on my watch, Henrik.
no, no, I would not, and I never did.
Yes.
So I
But,
even I maybe got a little close sometimes on the timer there, but I was like, I know I can make it back, so we're
right.
good.
But as creepy
what did
as
what?
Order 13 is, I gotta say though, Henrik,
Yeah.
it could have used some co-op, I thought. I mean, because honestly,
Okay.
if I'm gonna go through a horror warehouse shift, I'd rather drag my friends down with me, and maybe a few extra creature varieties wouldn't have hurt either. I mean, after a while, it's just kind of like, oh, it's you again, and
Yeah.
you lose that horror aspect. So does Order 13 deserve a repeat? Not for me, but the atmosphere is on point, but without co-op or more gameplay variety, it's a pause. And sorry, Henrik, excuse me, I gotta go and hug my dog, my real life dog, okay, and just be grateful that I'm not working the late night shift. But what's your verdict, Henrik?
Yeah, this is unfortunately a pause for me as well, but as a standalone story or game rather to just pick up and have a 3 hour experience one time through, it's actually not that bad. I'd say it's something to maybe pick up on a sale, when it's
Yeah,
maybe only a couple dollars, because that couple dollars stretches out to 3 hours about. So you're getting a pretty good deal for a pretty nice, chilling, atmospheric experience, really. and I enjoyed it. I just don't really feel like there's a need for me to replay it.
Yeah, and I feel like, this is a really, really cool game. You got to always support indie gaming, but we want to hear from you, the gamers. Is this a pause to play something else or a repeat for endless fun? You let us know what's good.